Jayādvaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahans Parikacharya Astotra Sasya Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada की जय जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिविचार्य अष्टोत्तर डिवाइन ग्रेस भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय नामाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की जय प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोधाम की जय वृंदावन धाम की जय मथुरा धाम की जय मायापुर धाम की जय जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय गंगा मई जमुना मई की जय तुलसी देवी भक्ति देवी की जय समवेत भक्तवृंद की जय all gurus assembly devotees all gurus to the assembled devotees all gurus assembled devotees all gurus guru and Gaurang.
Welcome everybody to Srimad Bhagavatam with His Holiness Jayādvaita Swami. It is Monday, July 7th, 2025. Today we're starting with Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 18. It's text 27 if the chat lines up with what you have. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, 27. Evam Araya Prithvim Anadaha Svanam Atmanaha Prabhavatsadi Vedena Tira Vedam Kurudvaha. Translation. My dear Vidura, chief of the Kurus, in this way King Prithu and all the others who subsist on food created different types of calves and milked out their respective eatables. Thus they received their various foodstuffs, which were symbolized as milk. Guru Maharaj and others, do you have comments here?
Jnana-Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshunmilitam Jena Tasma Shri Gurave Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shri Mate Bhakti Vedanta Shamilati Nam Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paspatideshtam. This verse summarizes what's gone before. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says they milk their desired food has different milk, different milks. So the Prabhupada says symbolized as milk. So everything is coming from the earth by the grace of Krishna, and each living entity is getting a particular kind of food required. That's the summary. Hare Krishna.
Anubhati Prabhu, are you available to read next verse? That's text 28.
Okay. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Gurudev Jayādvaita Swami Namine. Tato Mahipati Pritaha Sarva Kama Dugam Pithu Duhitritve Chakara Imam Premna Duhitri Vatsala. Thereafter, King Prithu was very satisfied with the planet Earth, for he sufficiently supplied all food to various living entities. Thus he developed an affection for the planet Earth, just as if she were his own daughter. This is the purport of this verse. We see the transformation that initially Prithu Maharaj was upset with Mother Earth, angry at Mother Earth as he was not supplying sufficient food for the subsistence of all living entities, as the living entities were exploiting. And after supplying sufficient food, King Prithu was very satisfied with Mother Earth, and he developed an affection for planet Earth as if he were his own daughter. Yeah, that's all I have on this verse.
We're reminded of the verse in first canto, which Srila Prabhupada several times quoted, Sarvakama Dukha Mahi, during time of Yudhishthira Maharaj. The earth was supplying all necessities. So when properly treated, the earth provides everything. And here, when the earth was providing, Prithu Maharaj was pleased and affectionate. Hare Krishna.
For our next text, Mahesh Pandit Prabhu, are you available?
Yeah, I would request Madhupati, go ahead, please. Next verse.
Okay. Chunayan swadanu kotyaha girikutani rajarat bhumandalamidam vainya praya chakre samam vibhu. After this, the king of all kings, Maharaj Prithu, leveled all rough places on the surface of the globe by breaking up the hills with the strength of his bow. By his grace, the surface of the globe almost became flat. Purport. Generally, the mountainous and hilly portions of the earth are made flat by the striking of thunderbolts. Generally, this is the business of King Indra of the heavenly planets. But King Prithu, an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, did not wait for King Indra to break up the hills and mountains, but did so himself by using his strong bow. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshunatanyena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. So after being affectionate to planet Earth, Maharaj Prithu labeled all rough places on the surface of the globe by king of the strength of a deity performed by Indra by his thunderbolt that flattens the mountainous and hilly portions of the earth. King Prithu, the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, does it himself by his bow and flattens, breaks up the hills and mountains and flattens the earth. Yeah, that's about it. This Gurmat, you had to...
No.
Okay, so text 30. Athasmin Bhagavan Shai Vainya Prajanam Rutidah Pita Nivasan Kalpayanje Skre Tatra Tatra Yatha Hruta. To all the citizens of the state, King Prithu was as good as father. Thus he was visibly engaged in giving them proper subsistence and proper employment for sustenance. After leveling the surface of the globe, he earmarked different places for residential quarters in as much as they were desirable. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. So here, further, Prithu Maharaj, King Prithu, provided employment for the subsistence for all the people. And after leveling the surface of the globe, he unmarked different places for residential quarters. So I guess from Prithu Maharaj, he started the boundary lines of people who lives or villages and all that. Maharaj, please.
Here, Vittida, he provides employment and nivasa, residence, kalpayam, suitable. The first thing is that everyone should be properly employed. I don't know what the unemployment rate is now, but there's not supposed to be unemployment. The king should make sure, the government make sure that everyone has suitable employment. And that everyone should have a proper place to live. Just as the father, he wants to see that his son starts off in employment one way or another, either has his own business or is set up in some way. And he wants to see that the son has a proper place to live. I know in the what am I thinking of? The Amish community near Edenagri. It's set up so that when the son grows up, he knows what he's going to do. He knows he's all set up with proper engagement in the community. He inherits a piece of property, place to live. So he's not in anxiety, and he's not, what's the word, roaming around pointless. His future is ahead of him. He has a place to live. He has his engagement. So the father sees to that. So Prithu Maharaj, like a father, is seeing that all the citizens have proper engagement, proper work, and also that they have proper places to live. Hare Krishna.
Madhu Pati Prabhu writes, unemployment rate currently is 4.1%.
Okay, I can go ahead next one now.
So we should add that so many people are employed in unhappily employed in ways that are not satisfying, employed in useless activity, manufacturing or selling something which is of no real use for society. So they're employed, but it's foolish employment or useless employment or unsuitable employment. And so you have people in the army who have no martial spirit. In so many ways, things are cockeyed. So the king would see that everyone was suitably employed and had a suitable place to live. Hare Krishna.
Graman pura patatnani durgani vididani cha ghoshan vrajan sashi ghoshan vrajan sa sibiran akaran khet khavartan. In this way, the king founded many types of villages, settlements, and towns, and built forest residence for cowarsmen, stable for the animal, and places for the royal camp, mining places, agricultural town, and mountain villages. Prakruto hi
Well, hold on.
naiva.
We
Yeah.
can add, there's a commentary by Chakravarti Thakur. Grams are villages without markets. Puras have markets. When a pura becomes large, it is a patana. He made various forts. Brihaspati says, Odakam Parvatam Arksham Airinam Tanvanam Tata. A fortress can be protected by water, mountains, trees, barren land, or desert. Koshan means places of the cowherds. Rajan means places for cows. Shibiran means for soldiers. Akaran means mines for producing gold and silver. Keta means agricultural villages near the mountains. So all of these places have their suitable use. Towns, settlements, forts, cowherd villages, mines, agricultural towns, and mountain villages also. Hare Krishna.
Prakruto hi riha naivesha puragramaadikalpana yatha sukham vasanti sma tatra uto bhaya. Before the reign of King Prithu, there was no planned arrangements for different cities, villages, pasturing grounds, etc. Everything was scattered, and everyone constructed his residential quarters according to his own convenience. However, since King Pruthu's plan was made for King Pruthu plans were made for town and villages. For this statement, it appears that town and city planning is not new, but has been coming down since the time of King Prithu. In India, we can see regular planning method evidently in very old cities. In Srimad Bhagavatam, there are many descriptions of such ancient cities. Even 5,000 years ago, Lord Krishna's capital Dwarka was well planned, and similar other cities, Mathura and Hastinapur, now New Delhi, were also well planned. Thus, the planning of cities and towns is not a modern innovation, but was existing in bygone ages. Thus, in the Bhaktivinoda purport of 4th canto, 18th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Prithu Maharaj Milks the Earth Planet. Maharaj, please. Thank you.
Town planning is extant since the time of Prithu Maharaj. In Bhagavatam, 10th canto, someplace it said that Dwarka seemed as if it were all planned by one architect.
Vishwakarma.
Vishwakarma. Nowadays we see that unfortunately in holy places, important holy places, town planning goes to hell, and they become a metropolitan sprawling areas with residential towers put up everywhere for the profit of the developers. But they're meant to be properly planned. Every place is meant to be properly planned. All right, we won't say more about that. But Hare Krishna. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 4th canto, 18th chapter. Prithu Maharaj milks the earth planet. All right. Chapter 19, King Prithu's 100 horse sacrifices. Maitreya Vacha, Atadik Shata Raja tu, Ayamedha Shatena Saha, Pumhavarte Manokshetre, Netraprachi Sarashati. Great sage Maitreya continued, My dear Vidura, King Prithu initiated the performance of 100 horse sacrifices at the spot where the river Saraswati flows toward the east. This piece of land is known as Brahmavarta, and it was controlled by Swami.
Maharaj, I have a question.
Yes.
What are we talking about timing limit? Since Prithu Maharaj, King Vena and Dhruva Maharaj. So we're talking about millions and millions of years, right, Maharaj?
Seems, you mean how long they lived, or how long?
No, how long it's been since we have this kind of method?
Yeah, this is, we're hearing about the descendants of Swayambhuva Manu.
Oh, okay.
So that's, am I right?
Yeah, starting from Lord Brahma's one day, yeah.
So this is long ago.
Yeah, long ago. Yes. Thank you.
Tadabi Pretya Bhagavan Karmati Shayam Atmanaha Shatakratur Naman Rishe Pitur Yagya Mahotsavam. When the most powerful Indra, king of heaven, saw this, he considered the fact that King Prithu was going to exceed him in fruitive activities. Thus, Indra could not tolerate the great sacrificial ceremonies performed by King Prithu. Purport. In the material world, everyone who comes to enjoy himself or lord it over material nature is envious of others. This envy is also found in the personality of the King of Heaven, Indra. As evident from revealed scriptures, Indra was several times envious of many persons. He was especially envious of great fruitive activities and the execution of yoga practices or siddhis. Indeed, he could not tolerate them, and he desired to break them up. He was envious due to fear that those who performed great sacrifices for the execution of mystic yoga might occupy his seat. Since no one in this material world can tolerate another's advancement, everyone in the material world is called matsara, envious. In the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is therefore said that Srimad Bhagavatam is meant for those who are completely near matsara, non-envious, near matsaranam satam. In other words, one who is not free from the contamination of envy cannot advance in Krishna consciousness. In Krishna consciousness, however, if someone excels another person, the devotee who's excelled thinks how fortunate the other person is to be advancing in devotional service. Such non-envy is typical of Vaikuntha. However, when one is envious of his competitor, that is material. The demigods posted in the material world are not exempt from envy. In the prayers to the six Goswami also it's said, Nir Matsuro Pujito. If someone's non-envious, he's worthy of worship. Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Mada, Moha, Matsarya. Matsarya means also envy. So envy is the nature of the conditioned soul. Originally, Prabhupada said that means envy of Krishna. Why should Krishna be the enjoyer? Why should Krishna be the controller? Why? Why him? Why not me? This is, what is that? It's Jadvesha Samuktain Vandvamohin. Vandvamohin Sarvutani Sammoham Sargayanti Parantam. This is the at the root of material life, material desire or ambition, and envy, and animosity towards those who are enjoying or controlling more than we are. We really don't like it. Even we see, well, in practical affairs, that old men are envious of younger men. The old men, in their 60s, 70s, they still want to hold on to their posts. And they're concerned that some younger guy might take over. How could he take over? He's not qualified. He doesn't know how this works. He doesn't know this. He doesn't know. So actually envious of their own sons, in one sense, envious of the younger generation. If they come up, what happens to me? What happens to me? What happens to me? So envious. I'll sit here and guard my turf and ward off all interlopers, all competitors. So that envy is there. If someone advances more in material affairs or even spiritual affairs, we become envious. Prabhupada saw that even in Gaudiya Vaishnavas, among Gaudiya Vaishnavas, Prabhupada said they were envious. How could this Bhaktivedanta Swami, how could he have excelled us? He was nothing. He was just a householder. He took sannyas so late. We were sannyasis from the beginning. How could he have done us? So then they would minimize or try to take advantage of, also then to get some of the credit or some of the assets. That was Prabhupada's view. But we see it all the time in material affairs. And we see it in our own mentality. If someone's ahead of us, we're sorry. We don't want to be at the back of the train. We see in the churning of the milk ocean that the demons wanted to be up at the front, toward the head of the snake, not in the back. So this mentality is there. I've seen among my contemporaries, there's one, anyway, I should mention that this tendency is there to want to hold on to one's post. It's surprising to me, that even in Krishna consciousness, devotees, advanced devotees, long-term time devotees would be practically frantic, if they realized that their post was vulnerable, that they could be asked to move on or required to move on. But that's the mine and mine. This is mine. So we see that in Indra. He becomes envious. How could these sadhus perform so much tapasya? They'll take over my post. Then what do? We try to shoot them down. We send some apsaras to try to shoot them down because we're unhappy that they're making advancement. Their progress is a threat to our stability, our security. So we want to get rid of them. And we see this in one of our devotees in the Middle East was reported to the government authorities for holding Krishna conscious activities. And the person who reported him was a Hindu. But his goal was that this man will be asked to leave, and then I'll take his post. Mm-hmm. I'll take his post. So this envy, therefore, nirmatsuro pujito, nirmatsuro. Hare Krishna.
And Maharaj, because Arjun was non-envious, he says, I'll teach you Bhagavad Gita,
Yes. Prabhakshami anasuyave. Yes, thank you. Good point.
Yes, wonderful. May you take
envious commentators on Bhagavad Gita. They want to get rid of Krishna.
Right.
And they want to surpass other commentators.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj. I would like to, she has a hands up, Saraswati Mata.
Pranams Parampuji Maharaj and all the Vaishnavas. Maharaj, I know the terms envy and jealousy, they're sort of interchangeable, but there is a difference, because envy is when it's about, wanting something that someone else has and you resent that they have it. But jealousy is more aligned with being afraid that you're going to lose something that's of value to you, to someone else. So in this case with Indra, these are all perceived threats in his mind. He's imagining that Prithu Maharaj wants to usurp his position. Or I mean, these are just imagined threats. There's no basis for it really, because Prithu Maharaj doesn't want Indra's post at all. So I'm just thinking, could we say Indra is envious and jealous at the same time?
I'm not sure that this distinction is verbal distinction is legitimate. In English, jealousy is a jealous resentment against a rival, a person enjoying success or advantage. Mental uneasiness from suspicion or fear of rivalry. Vigilance in maintaining or guarding something. And envy doesn't seem like it's, let's see. So jealous, envy, feeling discontent or covetousness with regard to another's advantage, success, possessions. I don't see that they're two different. Let's see. This is a usage note in the Random House Dictionary. Envy and jealousy are very close in meaning. Envy denotes a longing to possess something awarded to or achieved by another. Jealousy, on the other hand, denotes a feeling of resentment that another has gained something that one more rightfully deserves. So they're really, really close. And then, but Prabhupada seems to, what's the word? Seems to be translating the same Sanskrit terms near Matsura, Matsura, sometimes envy, sometimes jealousy. So I don't think there's a, that the English distinction counts for much in this context. My two cents. Yes, but that could provide if we're doing a close analysis of either envy or jealousy or matsura, then we can observe and catalog these different feelings. There's a sense that it should be mine, aham mama, it should be mine, and then there's fear that someone could take away what's mine, and then there's resentment that someone else has something I don't have, or is may surpass me or may take what's mine. So all of this, all of these related feelings, resentment, all of these related feelings and attitudes come into play within this field of envy or jealousy. Actual hatred, we develop animosity toward those who are ahead of us, who are catching up with us, who may surpass us. And it's childish, it's foolish, but it's deeply seated within the heart. Deeply seated within the heart. Envy. Therefore, nirmatsura pujito. What is that? Yes. Then we badmouth others also. We try to defame them. We try to minimize them. Anybody could have done that. It was just a fluke, or just because he was good in business, or this or that. So we try to minimize others. Prabhupada told that story. I think we've recited it several times about the the lawyers, and then one lawyer reading the newspaper, he says, "Did you see that Chakravarti's been promoted to the High Court bench?" And the other lawyer says, "Chakravarti? That nonsense? How could he have been promoted? He's useless." "No, I've seen it. He's sitting on the bench." Then he must not be getting paid. So somehow or other, to denigrate a person who's more fortunate than we are. And we see this also, that the workers are envious of the bosses, the laborers are envious of the capitalists because they have what we don't have. The people want to drag down the king. People want to drag down, what is that French Revolution? They want to drag down the king. They want égalité. We should be on an equal level with whoever's on top should just be brought down to be on an equal level with us. It's envy. Nations are envious of other nations because they have something that we want, or they may surpass us. So in so many ways, this envy manifests itself. Women are envious of men. Some men are envious of women. This race is envious of that race. Why should they have what we don't have? Why should they be given this or that? Then when they get something, and the others, members of the other race, then they become envious. Why them? Communism is essentially built on envy. So these things are there. The extent to which envy influences human behavior is quite something. And of course, in romance, and it's classic. There's so many novels and songs and histories about envious parties. Envious because this man has that woman, or that woman likes this man. So then there's envy, and then the women like to, what's the word? Stoke up the envy. If there are two envious parties vying for the woman's favor, then the woman is very happy. Two men competing for her. So that envy becomes a source of pleasure. And these things are going on. Theft simply because of envy. There was one attempted murder in Vrindavan, and a person who had some mystic capabilities identified that it wasn't for profit, it wasn't for possession of something. It was just envy, motivating goal, homicidal enterprise. It was just envy. We find it intolerable that somebody's has a post that we become envious. So this envy can lead to real viciousness. Hare Krishna.
Maharaji, I've just got a quick question. Srila Prabhupada in his class, some time ago I heard it, so I'm just paraphrasing, but he was talking about this envy and how we're supposed to, as devotees, try to overcome envy. He talked about how that we have to really be convinced that whatever we've been given or haven't been given, and whatever somebody else has been given, this is all Krishna's master plan. And there's no error in Krishna's calculations. So, if someone has more or less or whatever, this is all Krishna's plan. And wherever we are placed, we have to understand it's always it's a test that we have to try, that's given for our benefit. And then not constantly to be looking at what other people have. But I'm just thinking, like, in terms of struggling devotee, in Kali Yuga, okay, what thoughts you have don't generate karma as in other yugas, but still the fact that if you're even having such thoughts, it just is appalling. So in a practical way, how can we have Srila Prabhupada's voice in our head all the time with what I've heard of this is Krishna's master plan, everybody, it's his will, what somebody gets and what somebody doesn't get. Is there a practical way that we can always remember that? Hare Krishna.
Well, one thing is santushta satatam yogi. The quality of a devotee is to be satisfied. What is that in the Bhagavad Gita? My book's not right in front of me, but
Manaprasada samyatvam.
thank you. Exactly the verse. Manaprasada samyatvam. Austerity, mental austerity in the mode of goodness begins with manaprasada, to be satisfied. All right, this is my karma, this is my allotment. Isha vashamidam sarvam tena taktena bhunjita. Let me accept what's been given to me. Magrita kashas vidhanam. Not be envious of others. In Ecclesiastes also there's a line, I saw that all striving in this world is based on a man's envy of his neighbor. So that, because dissatisfied, and he'll never be satisfied. Even if he gets the whole world, he'll be envious of the demigods. So, Manaprasada, we should learn to cultivate satisfaction of the mind. All right, this is what I got. Not that I take sannyas and now I'm envious of others who have more disciples or finer clothes or more hits on their internet sites or more followers on their social media, more of this, more than we're envious. Somehow we want to bring them down or surpass them, or pass some law that clips their wings or whatever, because we're really unhappy that somebody's ahead of us. So we want to cultivate these qualities, starting with satisfaction. And of course, that's indirect, how to remember the instructions of the spiritual master. And that should be a matter of constant cultivation. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. I would like to invite Saraswati Mata for next verse, please.
Text 3.
Yes.
Yatra yagnapati sakshad Bhagavan Haririshvara Anavabhyata Sarvatma Sarvaloka Guru Prabhu. Translation: The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, is present in everyone's heart as the Supersoul, and he is the proprietor of all planets and the enjoyer of the results of all sacrifices. He was personally present at the sacrifices made by King Prithu. Purport: in this verse, the word Sakshat is significant. Prithu Maharaj was a Shakti Avesha avatar, incarnation of Lord Vishnu. Actually, Prithu Maharaj was a living entity, but he acquired specific powers from Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu, however, is directly the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus belongs to the category of Vishnu Tattva. Maharaj Prithu belonged to the Jiva Tattva. The Vishnu Tattva indicates God, whereas the Jiva Tattva indicates the part and parcel of God. When God's part and parcel is especially empowered, he is called Shakti Avesha Avatar. Lord Vishnu is herein described as Haririshwara. The Lord is so kind that he takes all miserable conditions away from his devotees. Consequently, he is called Hari. He is described as Ishvara because he can do whatever he likes. He is the supreme controller. The supreme Ishvara Purusha Uttama is Lord Krishna. He exhibits his powers as Ishvara, or the supreme controller, when he assures his devotee in Bhagavad Gita 18.66, abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reaction. Do not fear. He can immediately make his devotee immune from all the reactions caused by sinful life if the devotee simply surrenders unto him. He is described herein as Sarvatma, meaning that he is present in everyone's heart as the Supersoul, and as such, he is the supreme teacher of everyone. If we are fortunate enough to take the lessons given by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, our lives immediately become successful. No one can give better instructions to human society than Lord Krishna. Om Gyananti Mirindasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. So Krishna, in his expansion as Kshirodakshai Vishnu, lives in everyone's heart as the Supersoul, Paramatma. Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Riddhi Desharjun Titishtati. And also, we know that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer of all sacrifices and the proprietor. Bhoktaram Yagya Tapasham Ishvara Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Surdam Sarva Bhutanam Gnatva Mam Shanti Ruchyati. So we are also told about the different, there's different categories of Shakti Avesha Avatar. And Prithu is, there's two categories. And Prithu falls in the category of an indirect Shakti Avesh Avatar, which is a Jiva Tattva, who's been empowered by the Lord for specific functions and duties. A direct Shakti Avesh Avatar is called Bhagavat Avesh Avatar, and we have examples like Rishabdev and Kapiladev. These are Vishnu Tattva expansions, and some other indirect Shakti Avesh avatars, of course, Srila Prabhupada, but also there's Lord Brahma. He's empowered for creation, Shrishti Shakti, and there's the Kumar brothers. They have Gnan Shakti. Narad Muni has Bhakti Shakti. So these are also indirect Shakti Avesha avatars. We've been given some names of Krishna. Of course, Hari means that he takes away all tribulations and sufferings of his devotee. We know he's the supreme controller. And Srila Prabhupada was talking today in a class, actually, where he was talking about these yogis who in previous ages meditated, were able to live solitary lives and never be afraid or ever feel that they're alone, because Srila Prabhupada said they were so in connection with the super soul. So they were actually never alone, and they realized that. And of course, Krishna says, abandon all sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshishyami ma shucha, that he can deliver us from all past sinful reactions, past, present, future, actually, and not to be dwelling on your rap sheet that you've acquired in your life as a conditional soul. Once we agree and happily and joyfully rejoice in serving him with love and devotion, then we are actually living in the Vaikuntha atmosphere, because that's what liberated souls are doing. They're always engaged in serving Krishna out of love and devotion, never ever forgetful of Krishna at any time. So if we follow Krishna's instruction and under the shelter and guidance of our Guru Maharaj, then we can also get to a point where we will never forget Krishna and we will very happily serve him with love. Hare Krishna.
You are muted,
Maharaj,
Maharaj.
you're muted.
Thank you. I was also reminded of another kind of envy of the spiritual master.
Mhm.
That's extremely bad, that one wants to surpass one's own spiritual master. Why should he be so honored? Why shouldn't I be equally honored or more honored? One wants to overstep the spiritual master. So to envy the spiritual master is, again, as bad as envy of Krishna, the personality of Godhead. So what is that? The Marcha Buddhi Suyeta Sarvadeva Devamaya Guru. One should never be envious of the spiritual master. What form does that envy take? We consider him an ordinary human being. We evaluate him in terms of material designations. We think that I have a PhD and he's never finished, he's only got an MA and I have a PhD. He was born in a Vaishya family, but I was born in a Brahmin family. Whatever it is, we find some justification for thinking that we're better. He did this, but anyone could have done that, or it was just good luck, but I'm somehow more qualified, or I've done more. He had this many disciples, I have that many disciples. Whatever, one becomes envious. Why should my spiritual master? It's subtle. How can one outwardly be envious, but inwardly, and it comes out also, he's envious. He wants to enjoy the Guru's property. He wants to have surpassed the Guru in reputation. Why should all those people be loyal to him? They should be loyal to me. So this kind of envy is there. Even in the presence of the spiritual master, one may be envious. So that's fatal to spiritual life. That's extremely toxic to spiritual life. Anyone wants to minimize the Guru or give less importance to the instructions of the Guru or Bhagavatam. So envy of the Lord, envy of the spiritual master, and envious of others. You need to be careful. Hare Krishna.
Saraswati Mother writes, the smartest Brahmins were enemies of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's fame, prestige, and his Sankirtan movement, and complained to Kazi to stop Sankirtan, but failed.
Yes.
Thank you, Maharaj. I would like Murari Gupta, Radesh Prabhu, if you can lead the Kirtan, please.
Hare Krishna. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Gurudasa Jayādvaita Swami Namani. I'm just stepping outside because my baby is sleeping. 1 second. All right. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivajikacharya Stotra Shata Shishama Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivajikacharya Stotra Shata Shishama Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Sakor Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gokopinath Shamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhana Ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories to your Samal devotees. All glories to your Samal devotees. All glories to your Samal devotees. Jai Gaur Premanand. Hari Hari Bol.
Thank you, Radesh Prabhu, for your nice melodious kirtan. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj, for being supporting us so nicely.
Thank you, Mahesh Pandit, for leading the discussion very nicely. And thank you to Madhupati, to Radhesha, Saraswati. Thank you to all. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai.
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 Really go.